Maybe you've seen lessons and videos on modes that have gone something like this. We're going to start in G, G major or G Ionian, and on the guitar it looks something like this. And then next, the second mode is A Dorian, and it looks something like this. And so on and so forth as the modes keep climbing up the guitar neck. But spoiler alert, that actually has nothing to do with modes. What you're actually doing when you do that is you're just playing multiple shapes of the major scale up the guitar neck. It's not a good lesson in how to understand the modes. What's up, everyone? My name is Matthew Dale, and I am here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. And we're really going to take a look at the understanding more part of that today. If you want a helpful guide to go along with this video, and you want to understand more about the essential building blocks of music, then go ahead and download my Essential Music Theory cheat sheet. It'll be available in the link in the description below. Modes are very convoluted. And when they are taught like scale shapes, it's really hard for guitar players and musicians to really understand what they are. An easier way to think of modes would be moods, or moods of music. So there's a certain mood that's evoked when I play a scale, a mode, over that chord. And modes are really more about the chords that you're playing over rather than the scale that you're using, or the scale shape especially, that you're using to solo over those chords. You could also look at it this way. Modes are a fully realized chord sound, or a chord scale. They are scales that we use to play over certain chords, or maybe even certain chord progressions. Let me explain this further. So when I play A minor, just these three notes, A, C, and E, in this A minor chord don't really tell us the full story of all 7 notes that are in the scale that could fit over this chord. But when I play all of those notes, all of a sudden you get a more in-depth picture of what's going on, or a more in-depth sound of what's going on. So if modes have nothing to do with scale shapes, then what are they? Let's take a look at this in not a relative sense, which is what the scale exercise does when you work up the guitar neck. Let's take a look at this in a parallel sense, and I'm going to put this in the people's key of C major, no sharps and no flats. And I'm going to focus really on everyone's favorite scale position, this first shape of the minor pentatonic scale. But it's also a major pentatonic scale if you start it from the 8th fret. So A minor pentatonic when we are focusing our attention on the A note on the 5th fret, but it works just as well for C major. It's the C major pentatonic. Now, pentatonic scales are 5-note scales. Penta meaning 5 and tonic meaning tone. Our major and minor scales and all of our modes are heptatonic, or 7-note scales. So all we need to do to this pentatonic shape to make it a mode or a full major scale is add 2 notes. And I'll put this on the graphic in this video. So I'm going to start on C, and I'm going to work up pentatonic, and then add the F, the 4th degree of the scale. We keep going up our pentatonic shape, and I'm going to add B, the 7th note of our scale. And then we have the next octave of the shape. C, D, E, F, again adding the 4th degree, G, A, B, adding the 7th, and then C. So this pentatonic scale shape becomes a major scale shape. And because of the way our relative majors and minors work, this serves double duty for A minor. So that's the A natural minor. So that's already 2 modes out of the 7 that we have. And just like the chords in our major scale, which would be C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then C major back to our octave, our modes follow those same chord qualities. So we have 3 minor modes, 3 major modes, and then we have 1 diminished mode. So our major scale, or the first mode, Ionian, same thing as the major scale, is just those numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And it means this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And for practice sake, it's really good to practice all of your scale shapes, counting through them with numbers. Don't just learn the shape and the muscle memory itself, really try to practice the understanding of what interval or what scale note you are on when you're playing through that scale shape. Now we're going to focus on our other 2 major modes, Lydian mode and Mixolydian mode. It really comes down to what we do with the 4th degree and the 7th degree of the scale that gives us the modal sound. So Lydian is just the major scale with a sharp 4. If you can count your way through the scale, 1, 2, 3, here's where 4 would be from the major mode, Ionian. Lydian is just a half step up, sharp 4. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And sometimes if I'm playing this, I will reconfigure sharp 4. Instead of reaching up with my pinky over on the 9th fret of the A string, I'll play it on the 4th fret of the D string. And then you would take it up through the rest of the scale shape. So 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. Now again, we're still hovering around our pentatonic framework, which is good because if you are improvising and you already have a really good command of the pentatonic scale, which you should because the pentatonic scale is horribly useful, then you can transition into your modal playing really seamlessly. You don't have to go through all of the mental gymnastics of saying, okay, well, now I need to think of what scale shape to use, but then I also need to think of what key I need to play this thing. It's all going to be under your fingers. If you understand what notes to add or manipulate to get the modal sound. Let's look at Mixolydian. Mixolydian is just the major scale with a flat 7. So again, I'm going to go back to major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. That's all Mixolydian means. Major scale with a flat 7. Now, I'm going to put on a little bit of a C loop here so that you can hear what this sounds like in context. So I've got C going on. Here's pentatonic. Now major. Now I'm going to transition to Lydian, sharp 4. It's a little more spacey, right? Now Mixolydian. A little more Allman Brothers, bluesy, right? So it really matters what chord you're playing on top of to really get the sound of the mode. And then we can use a pentatonic framework to get the majority of our notes out of the mode, 5/7 of the mode, and then manipulate the 4th or the 7th, depending on what mode we're using, to bring out that color of that chord. Now, minor is where things get really interesting because just like A natural minor was the relative minor of C major, our modes have relatives as well. First, let's take a look at what the minor scale really is when we compare it to the major scale. So the minor scale would be this: 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. So that's looking at the interval difference between the major scale and the minor scale. And we have two other minor modes: the mode from the 2 chord, which is called Dorian, and the mode from the 3 chord, which is called Phrygian. Dorian is a minor scale with a natural 6. So if I count that through my shape here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, natural 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, natural 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. That is the exact same shape for Lydian, which is great for muscle memory. And if you've been keeping track, we have one more minor mode, the Phrygian mode, which has a flat 2 added to the minor scale. So 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. And this looks exactly the same as Mixolydian that we played a second ago. Those are relatives of one another. So now I'm going to put an A minor on, and we'll hear what it sounds like. So I'm just going to play A minor, A natural minor scale. Now here is A Dorian. I'm using natural 6. Now I'm going to use Phrygian, which is the minor scale with a flat 2. And that one is a little bit more dissonant due to that flat 2. So a quick review: we have the major scale, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to 1. And then we have two other major sounding modes: Lydian with a sharp 4, 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and then Mixolydian with a flat 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. And then we have 3 minor modes: the natural minor or Aeolian, which is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, the 3 flats that make up a minor scale; Dorian, that has a natural 6 in that formula: 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, natural 6, 7, flat 7, and then 1. And then we have Phrygian, that's a minor scale with flat 2. 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. And there's one more, the mode that fits over our diminished chord, which is called Locrian, the diminished mode. And you can think of Locrian like a Phrygian scale, but with flat 5. And flat 5 is what makes the scale diminished. So I'm going to go back to A minor here, but I'm going to add in flat 5. 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. So I'm still going to use my pentatonic framework, but I'm going to be extra careful to avoid the natural 5th and replace it with flat 5 to bring out the Locrian sound. And the chord that I'm going to solo over is an A minor 7 flat 5. So very weird, very exotic scale there. And like I said, that's not typically one that we solo over in a long sort of modal vamp context. So those are all 7 of our major scale modes. And if you can play a major pentatonic and a minor pentatonic scale, even if you're using only one scale shape, you have the tools to add in modal sounds into your playing. But remember, it's less about the scale shapes and more about the sounds that you're playing on top of and manipulating shapes that you already know. Remember to download my Essential Music Theory cheat sheet. Again, the link is in the description below. My name is Matthew Dale. Play better, sound great, and understand more. And I'll see you next time.